You are listening to Rouge Radio, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
It's time to get the point as Rouge Radio is ready to kick off.
Ready!
The best football talk with the best in the business.
So what is the cost? You have 2 first-round picks this year because the Argos are dumb enough to trade for Drew Willie.
A few rookies.
We go directly to the on-field product. We welcome to the show the 20th overall pick in this past Sunday's CFL draft, DeAndre Wright of the Alouettes. DeAndre, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
And the occasional Hall of Famer.
Please welcome Doug Brown, who is one of the members of the current class of 2016 in the CFL Hall of Fame. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you guys for the kind words and for having me on the program.
Rouge Radio is on the air. Here's your hosts, Robert Dalton and Tony Allen.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rouge Radio podcast, powered by the Canadian Football Podcast Network. My name is Robert Dalton, and that just kind of tripped out of my words as we're getting ready for week number 4 in the CFL season, and it's going to be a fantastic weekend if you're it could be a bunch of garbage games depending on if you've listened to certain people through social media. Let's get to this week's our booth announcer, shall we?
Rouge Radio is sponsored by the good people over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, enter the promo code Rouge, and your order gets discounted by 20% as well as free worldwide shipping. Go to manscaped.com. Your balls? Oh, they will thank you. Gentlemen?
Thank you. How's life? You're back in the hat?
Yep, after another quick round tripper to Swift Current, back at home and get 24 hours break, so it worked out perfectly that we can do the show and not from a bunkhouse dorm room, but looks like we got a bit of a storm brewing here in Medicine Hat, so we'll try and survive this. Hopefully power or internet or both don't get knocked out here over the next 45 minutes, hour, whatever it takes to get through.
This shouldn't take too long. We've been getting the shows lately within a decent amount of time, half hour to 35 minutes. So obviously we're not talking too much about The Simpsons recently, and there's no hockey
and
going
I'm classing it up with my son's gaming headset today,
I wasn't gonna say anything, but
you know
I'm glad you
we can address the
it.
elephant in the room. My gaming headset instead of a more professional look. There you are with your baffling double baffling on your microphone there.
Yeah, I know. It's the condensed mic versus the PC gamer mic.
Yeah, there we go.
Anything that you want to talk about for week 3? Because I was out with on a little date with my wife celebrating. We never really got to celebrate our 18th anniversary. We figured to do that as I was going out on holidays.
Dalts loves his wife. Dalts loves his wife.
They do not.
Shut up, guys.
Stop it. No one likes Millhouse. That just crossed a lot of things here. Anyway, so long story short, I didn't catch some of the Montreal Edmonton game. All I know is that out of nowhere, I get a text from Tony saying, "That's it. I'm done pumping the Elks tires. They are garbage." Yeah. So
disappointed.
You didn't watch a lot of the games this week, or this past week, but I imagine that you did watch the Elks. So, floor is yours, my man. Take it.
Oh, nothing. I could rip into them. I don't want to go complete 180 on this through the weekend. It's tough when you work on the road. You kind of watch where you can and spend time with my kids as well. My youngest has kind of made this amazing leap over to baseball. He's discovered baseball. He's played it the last couple of years, but he's just in love with it. They bought me MLB The Show for my Xbox, but he plays it all the time. So when I'm home, I try and play baseball catch, so I miss some games being a dad. But what I did see, it did trigger that text. It's like, I've been trying to pump up this Elks teams, and I don't know, it's done. You know, I was pushing it. I was having a difficult time convincing myself I believed what I was saying about the Elks, but that was just a poor performance, poor effort, poor team. I don't think they've got it in them anymore.
I don't think that they're the team that they think they are. I still think that there's some talent there, and it needs some time to gel.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think that they just poured a lot of money on their defense, and it turns out that their defense just wasn't as good as they thought, and they realized, oh my God, this quarterback who runs a lot, he can't pass, and now we don't have any high profile receivers to throw to scare some defenses. So that's always been my sentiment towards the Edmonton Elks.
I'm not saying they don't have a future. I just don't think they're as far as ahead as I thought they were going to be at this point.
Oh, yeah, and it's funny, you know, in the CFL, you know, a full rebuild can be done in 1 year. 1 year contracts, you get your high profile free agents, and if you're on the ball in a scouting category, you could find a diamond in the rough, and like maybe that is in a receiver. It could be. They're going to have their work cut out for them this week. You face the Bombers without, I believe it's David Beard, who has been added to the 6th game. More on that when we preview Week 4. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like a slow rebuild, and I think right now the fans were filled with hope. We were filled with hope, and all of a sudden it's kind of like, we're not as good as we thought we were. And if, swear to God, can we stop it with the name change? Like if you want to change the name, whatever, if you want to change it from Elks to Esks, whatever. Don't claim that the team sucks because of the name change. The team sucks because the team sucks. And there's no way about it. If the team sucks, it's not there's no, like, I love sports fans to, like, you know, they love talking with them on social media, love interacting with them. But I swear to God, there's always that one that says that, you know, man, if like there were some Bomber fans back in the 90s, right? You know, in the years gone by, the golden era, going up into 95, and then they switched those jerseys. Instead of you know, teal blue or whatever, they went black, and then they threw in the a bomb or the W with the lightning as their logo. And then they crapped the bed, and they didn't go back to respectability for at least 6 or 7 years after that. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's the curse. You should change back your look." No, the people in charge of putting those teams together sucked. Now, I'm going to give Mark Killam and Ed Hervey a pass because this is their first year. But in the CFL, rebuilding does not take you that long. You should have some semblance of hope or success. And it's not working out for Edmonton right now. Statistically, they are exactly where they were 1 year ago today. And it's not looking good. In fact, you could probably say that they got worse at the key position at the quarterback. Your good friend, Homer McLeod Thompson there, or McLeod Bethel Thompson, the Bumblebee, which he flew again as a member of the Montreal Alouettes. He flew.
I knew it. I believe in the Bumblebee.
Oh man, every now and then we're going to have to go back to that, to explain the Bumblebee reference, but maybe on social media we'll go through that. Anything else before we move on?
Nope. I just want to say if you can see it on my monitor, heavy light flickering here. Again, I tell you, there's a big storm in southern Alberta right now. There's even been hints of a tornado watch, and just know that any chance with the lights, I could lose my power any second here. So if my screen goes blank, we're toast.
I'm just doing the show by myself. Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick up. So I don't know if you want to race into predictions and see if we can save this before I get shut down here by Mother Nature, or
I mean, as I look at it, yeah, that is next on the itinerary. Before we go forward, the CFPN Fantasy or Canadian Football Podcast Network has a fantasy league. I am in it once again. All proceeds go to the charity of the winner's choice. I sucked last week, and the week before I forgot to save on my lineup, but thankfully, the roster that the league actually set forth automatically came out and gave me the W. So I am 1-2, and this week I'm going up against, I'm assuming, Joe Pritchard from the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. Looking forward to that. Let's go to week 4, shall we? As we're recording Wednesday, June 25th, June 26th being tomorrow, that is my wife's birthday, so obviously I am not attending this game, but the Winnipeg Blue Bombers host the Edmonton Elks. Speaking of the Elks, and the Bombers are favored by 9.5 points. Over-under is set at 51.5. Tony, what do you got with this one?
This is going to be the Elks are absolutely going to destroy the Bombers this weekend because I am giving up on them. I'm picking the Bombers all in, the Bombers to cover. I even like the over on that score, which means run out and buy your Elks tickets because I am not having a good 2025. And it's been, I'm not going to lie, this season hasn't been as enthralling as previous seasons. I wish we would have seen. And with the exception of that Saskatchewan game, I did watch that one too. And
the game sucked.
I'm not going to go down the road that some other guy has gone down.
Yeah.
Maybe when I talk about the Riders going forward, but in this one, I'm done with the Elks until they can show me that my faith was somewhat worthy of them. They're just clearly not as far ahead as I thought they were going to be. So I'm going to take the Bombers 31-17 in this one. And although that doesn't completely cover the point spread, I'm kind of pumping the brakes for the Bombers, but I could see them going over the score I've done. But 31-17 is where I put the Bombers right now.
Yeah, and if there was one thing that probably the Bombers may be susceptible to, and they haven't shown it, is through the air. And like as we just talked about it, Trey Ford having some issues through the air, having some non-prolific receivers that normal defenses would be shattering in their boots. So over, it is the that 9.5 is just so tempting. It is so tempting to say the Bombers are going to cover. I would probably venture to say that this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think defensively, possibly Edmonton starts to find their groove. Maybe not in the first quarter, maybe somewhere in the third quarter. But I think I like Winnipeg in this one definitely. I'm not that 9.5 point spread. It's just too much for me, and so I think Edmonton just does enough to cover the spread. But I like Winnipeg all over the board to be better than Edmonton. I think both defenses are really, really good. I think they're closer than I think statistically that stats would like them to be. But at the same time, I just like Winnipeg's offense to ball control when they have the lead going into the fourth quarter. So at this point, yeah, I will go Winnipeg. Take the under in this one, but Winnipeg does win this one 20-16. Before we go on to the second game, let's go to
Rouge Radio is partnered with the good people over at Sports Interaction. Go to sia.com/Rouge and your first deposit will be matched up to 100%. And as always, the fellas say, please gamble and play responsibly. Gentlemen?
Thank you. Second game is Montreal in Hamilton. And I am amazed that this isn't the game that has 9.5 points. The Montreal Alouettes are only favored by 3.5. The over-under is set at 51. I'm sorry, it's 50.5 at this point. I'm going to go with Montreal to cover the spread. Hamilton coming off the bye. I'm still not a fan of Hamilton's offense. They might have just gelled over as far as the offense goes, but if Hamilton is going to have some kind of semblance of coming back and showing everybody that they are here, this isn't the week to do it. Montreal is just too strong, and for that, I like Montreal. It's Davis Alexander hasn't practiced in the last couple of days. I don't think that is going to be an issue. Apparently, that is something that he does every week. So I think Davis Alexander, even if he isn't playing, I still like McLeod Bethel Thompson to being better than Bo Levi Mitchell, just because of the receivers and the offense that is in Montreal Alouette uniform. So take Montreal to cover. Both offenses, especially in garbage time, are going to obliterate that over-under, but I do like Montreal to cover a lot. So Montreal takes it 41-20 over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Where do you got this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go with the hot hand of the Montreal Alouettes, and the class of the East early on, but they've been the class of the East for the last couple of years. Then there was a small gap, and basically since the turn of the century, the Montreal Alouettes have the East has belonged to them. And you know what? Again, Hamilton has not been the same since the name change. They have been since the Tigers merged with the Wildcats and changed their name to the Wildcats. It's cursed, this political correctness garbage. And I think not until Hamilton turns their name back to either the Hamilton Football Club or Hamilton Tigers will this organization ever win another Grey Cup. It's time. Change the name back to the Hamilton Tigers. We don't need this Wildcats garbage. So I can't pick the Tiger Cats. This is a principle thing. Like the nickname of a sports team is about principle. It's deeper than common sense. It's a principle. So until the Hamilton Tigers come back, and I only know them I don't know who the Tiger Cats are. I've only ever known them as the Hamilton Tigers. So I'm going to take Montreal 28-14 over the Hamilton Tigers because that's the real team.
There's a lot of tongue in cheek, but there's also a lot of I don't freaking care anymore kind of and then that sentiment. Next game, the BC Lions are in Saskatchewan at New Mosaic Stadium. And can we stop? Are people still referring it as New Mosaic right now?
I have no idea. How old is Mosaic?
It's 8 years. 8 years old.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, we no longer call ourselves the new Rouge Radio anymore. It's just Rouge Radio.
I imagine still a beautiful stadium. Like I remember when I was working in Regina, and I raved about that place. Again, I haven't been to Princess Auto Stadium yet, but I don't know I still watch games on TV. I watched that one last week, and it's like I was watching with my kids. I'm like, man, that place was so beautiful. I still remember it was such a great stadium.
Yeah, just too bad they might lose this one. The BC Lions, Saskatchewan's favored by 4.5 points. Over under set at 51.5, and some key positions. Jeremiah Mazzoli might be starting again. Nathan Rourke has been limited. Who, by the way, the last time that you did see the Riders in New Mosaic Stadium to play the Lions, that's the game that Nathan Rourke. Well, he almost had a season-ending injury. Came back for the last couple of games that year, back in 2022. I'm sure a lot of Rider fans are wanting to sign a petition to make sure that you stay the F away, or maybe a lot of.
I know. Actually, I was with one of our loyal listeners.
Yeah.
At that game, he's the one that treated me with his season ticket, and if he listens to this episode, he'll correct me. We'll get the group text if I'm not remembering right, but I believe I did. I took out my phone and I turned to him, and it was just before the play. Nathan Rourke was on the field, like, I'm going to tape this touchdown. And I recorded it, and that was the play he got hurt.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, God, what did I just do? I just jinxed it all. So maybe I don't know if 100% that's how it went down, but it feels like it's something along those lines of how I jinxed Nathan Rourke, and he's never been the same since.
Yeah, he actually sent me a text I can't remember after what, but it made reference to that incident. But yeah, that was kind of laughable. Forget it. Is it? Did you make a select? No, we didn't go. So Nathan Rourke has been limited, so it looks like that at least for now, Jeremiah Mazzoli will be the starter. But Trevor Harris has been a no-show for practice as he has had some concussion symptoms. Earlier in the week, they did indicate that he had some fever. You know, he was somewhat of an illness, but that might have been residual from the hit. We should be finding some issues in regarding to some fines, supplemental discipline from that Ryder Argo game. But I was going to say the bold prediction of the BC Lions winning this one. Can't imagine, as bad as I thought BC has been, I think defensively they've kind of figured it out. The fact that now Trevor Harris may not play and you've got Jake Mayer starting leads me to possibly that this is going to be BC's game to lose. So definitely because of that, I have BC covering the spread. I think this will be a low-scoring affair. I can't imagine Jeremiah Mazzoli actually lighting up any secondary, much less the Ryder secondary. Defensively, I think the front seven in Saskatchewan is going to give them a little bit more headaches than Winnipeg did the week prior. But I think that he's actually going to find some wiggle room when he's under pressure, as long as he doesn't cough up the ball, get some first downs, and get the occasional field goal. BC does win this one 20-15. Tony.
All right, I'm going to have to probably go with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I feel like combined my 4-14 prediction with my comments after Jake Mayer got added to the Riders about him basically being a less versatile Trevor Harris and less effective, I've pretty much gift wrapped the 2025 Grey Cup to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I feel like I have set the stage to get absolutely owned by Rider Nation, everything with that horrible predictions, because basically the Riders have to go 1-14 now for me to be right on my preseason prediction. So
if Jake Mayer starting the rest of the year, you might be onto something.
maybe. You know what? I'm going to give this one to the Riders, and only because if I was a fan of the show or a listener of the show who over the last couple of years hears me say you have to beat them for me to not pick them. If you want me to not pick them, you got to start beating them. And at 3-0 and on top of the West, until you can beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I got to pick them. I did it for Montreal. I did it for Winnipeg. And I feel like if I could make fun of myself for my preseason prediction, but honestly, Saskatchewan has looked really good. And whatever, I'm not embarrassed to say it. We make predictions for the sake of making predictions for fun on information we don't have yet. And so far, they look like they've been a fun football team to watch. And I'm sort of like watching the end of that game last week when we thought Toronto had done the impossible and come back, and then the very next play to watch them return that kickoff. That's the best football. That is absolutely the greatest football you could ever ask for. So, you know what? I'm going to take them 26-10.
I live streamed that on Twitch the fourth quarter, and I honestly, as a Bomber fan, you just got to shut up and just embrace the greatness of that ending. I was like, first off, I forgot that that when Nick Arbuckle ran down and threw that touchdown, and I'm thinking, all right, we're going to overtime. Oh, I forgot that they had to get the 2 points, the conversion. Then they caught it. It was like, oh my God, we're going to overtime. And I was like, 23 seconds is a long time in the CFL. 23 seconds is a long time. And then I was like, all Mario Alford has to do is get it into field goal range. That's all he has to do. as bad as Brett Lothar has been performing this year, that's all you have to do. And Mary Alford said, F Brett Lothar, I'm just going to take it all the way to the house. And that he did.
I was still trying to process that 2-point conversion, and I think my kids were doing some sort of arts or craft from those, and I turned down to help them, and when I looked up, that's when I saw him running. Like, you've got to be kidding me with this isn't going to happen. And then it didn't. Like, I was still trying to process the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. And I mean, this is why we brag about the CFL. I'm sorry, that is absolutely amazing football.
Yeah, the game itself was ruined by all the penalties, and I can understand that. But I mean, if you're focused on that, then you really have to be focused on the ending, because I don't think you can get that kind of ending anywhere else in any other league. But I digress. Let's go to the last game. So I'm trying to figure out where I am in the itinerary. There we go. All right, the Toronto Argonauts, still winless, go into Ottawa, who made some short work. I made fun of them on social media against the Calgary Stampeders, because I didn't even with Dustin Crum, I didn't give them any kind of a chance, and they just kind of proved me wrong. But anyway, the Ottawa Redblacks have that one win, and they're favored by 2.5 points. The over-under is 52.5. Chad Kelly doesn't look like he's coming back for week 4, despite the previous reports. Dustin Crum looks like he is going to be the starter. Drew Brown still limited in his reps. So knowing all that, where do you have this one ending on?
Oh boy, I'll tell you, I think the reason I didn't watch this one is because I was traveling for work, so I didn't see the score to the end. And when I saw the score, my first thought was, look at the score, look at the box score, find out what happened. And all I could think of was the previous show when I said Stamps aren't getting touchdowns. So if Ottawa can avoid the running touchdowns because we can't get the president, then Ottawa has a chance to win. But I still picked the Stampeders. And sure enough, as soon as I open up the box score, no offensive touchdown, or no passing touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. Ottawa did the one thing I said they needed to do to win that football game. Just stop the run game, and the offense isn't going to score in the air.
I mean, the weather played a huge part there too, as well. I mean, no
touchdowns. Everybody, Ottawa scored touchdowns. So, like, both teams were on the field for that weather. So, when it comes to this game, Toronto, I think, looked strong last week. I think Calgary was smoke and mirrors. You were the one to allude to smoke and mirrors for the Stampeders. There you go.
On the back there, yeah.
Ottawa exposed that, but I think it also. I don't think I'm going to give. I'll give Ottawa its due for the win, but I don't think this means we're going to see a better Ottawa football team. I'm going to take Toronto 14-10 in this one, just to see how much of Ottawa was legit and how much is just the Stampeders can't score touchdowns.
Yeah, they're to me, it is a mirror of. I so want to echo your sentiments there. I really do. Just because I'm Dustin Crum doesn't appear to have the potential of him being a passing quarterback. It's not there. Like, he's reached his ceiling. He is a lighter version of Chris Streveler at this point. I mean, Streveler proved it's one game, but Streveler proved that he can pass. But Crum had that. I think he's hit his ceiling. That, like, his ceiling is he'll drop back, scramble, run, and then the next snap straight to running. Like that is his MO. But there's just something about this Argonaut team. Like, every now and then this is what the problem with like being a fan of this league, specifically the Bombers. Like, there's been some times in the last 30 years. Yeah, I'm just like in between from 1995 to 2019. There's been times where the Bombers have had some really bad teams, and then they just play up to the opponent, right? They give you that hope that, all right, we got close, blah, blah, blah. And then the next game, they just, this fall apart. I have a feeling the Toronto Argonauts falling apart. And it's not going to be because of Ottawa. Yeah, I'm not going to give them credit for the win. I'm not going to give them their due for being that kind of football team. They get the credit for the win, but I don't think that they are that football team that could put together multiple without Drew Brown. I think if Drew Brown ends up playing, this game's over by first quarter. I think Ottawa does take this one because Justin Crum is the starter. I'm still going to give it to Ottawa, but it's more of like a one confidence point. It's just because it's Toronto right now. At this point, Toronto, there's just something there's something missing in Toronto. And I'm still waiting for someone to get cut because Ryan Dinwiddie's post-game presser said that heads were going to roll and nothing's done. So unless I missed something, but that accountability kind of lays forth. So, okay, you could play crappy and nothing bad is going to happen. Whereas in Ottawa, they didn't play bad, but they were also playing the Calgary Stampeders, who may have actually come back to reality. Ottawa gets the win, but not because it's Ottawa. It's more because of their opponent in this case. Take the under in this one, and I'm going to go 19-10 over the Toronto Argonauts. So I think we are kind of mixed bag. We've both got Montreal. We've both got Winnipeg. And then the last two games, we are 50-50. I've got BC and Ottawa, and you've got Toronto and Saskatchewan. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes down. Someone's going to go 4-4 or 4-4, maybe, possibly, or maybe none of us. I don't know. But any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yes, this is a personal note one. Only because a couple of years ago, I bought my son got a Rubik's Cube for Christmas, and I figured it out, and I fell in love with Rubik's Cubes, and I did a 3x3. Then I learned there was a 4x4, and recently I mastered this 5x5 Rubik's Cube. I won't do it to the show. It would take a whole show to solve this thing because I'm not fast at it. So just as a personal victory, I can now solve this 5x. If there's a 6x6, I need to find it now because I am just obsessed with these Rubik's Cubes, and I have my own collection of them. So just a little personal victory for me there that I wanted to share, just to peek into my personal life.
Yeah, there we go. We get the crowd applause there. Every now and then I forget that I have sound effects.
Let's ramp them up.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's podcast. Happy Canada Day for everybody. It just seems like this is labeled as Canada Day weekend, but it seems closer to week 5 than it does to actually week 4. So it kind of seems very, I understand why, but it just seems kind of weird. But, I guess that's very CFL-y, I guess. Anyway, okay, that still cracks me up. All right, that'll wrap it up for this week. You can find us on YouTube as well as Facebook, as well as on Blue Sky. You can look for the podcast at Rouge Radio, myself at Rouge Dalts, of course Tony at Tony Rouge, and of course we are available on all podcast applications. Please subscribe to us and review. Tell all your friends. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.